good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are to our next episode of Who Knows?
Who knows what we're going to talk about today?
Well, you actually do, because you came up with the topic for today. What is that?
Well, I didn't come up with it, but as I was editing a couple of podcasts and things like that, I went through our channel's comments. And there was one that immediately piqued my interest when I looked at it, and it was a commenter that suggested that we speak about the art of listening. And I was like, oh yeah, because we talk a lot, but
do we listen? Do we listen to each other even?
Yeah, it was... I thought about it because I was just home alone and I was editing, and I just sat there thinking about it, and I was like, that is interesting, because no one ever talks about listening, which is funny because it's we constantly listen.
And it's actually, well, that's not true, because a lot of people listen but with the mind the mind is going, how shall I reply, so that is not actually listening, and I can see that right away in people's eyes. And it's funny you brought this up, because this morning I woke up, we saw Friends yesterday, really a beautiful family. They're traveling around the world, and they got 3 young girls from 15 up to 21. And they're amazing, the family. And I said to Ole that it's every time, or a lot of times, I'm so aware of it now, because I used to be absolutely useless with giving people compliments. Yeah, I'm not, I'm really working hard on that. And normally these days, I'm coming closer now, because it's easier. Let me wrap it up here. Hang on. When we went home yesterday, I'm sitting on the scooter and I'm like, why didn't I give the girls more compliments? And it's too late then. I can WhatsApp them. But
it's not the
what
same.
Dad said, going back to listening, he said, even though you don't give a compliment, you're super good at listening to them and actually seeing them and asking more questions and listening. So that in itself, he thought, is a compliment. So it's funny that you bring it up, because I think it comes with age as well, or maybe it's a personality, because I like listening these days and not talking so much.
I mean, now I'm just thinking about the compliments part, because I like when it comes to compliments, for me, it's if I genuinely give you a compliment, then you know that I mean it, because I hate just saying, oh, you look good today, just to say it or just to be nice. I'd rather not say anything than it being genuine. So yeah, I've never heard you say that you have issues with complimenting people. That's
no, I have. I think it in my head, but I don't say it out loud. I'm getting better at it. I'm aware of it. And I'm not sure where it comes from. My dad wasn't very good at giving compliments and still aren't. So maybe I get that personality from him, but I'm, like Dad said, I'm very aware of it these days, and I'm getting better at it, and I'm really...
You need to say which dad when you say dad, because you just talked about your dad and then my
dad wasn't, but your dad is complimenting me for, that I see it and that I'm aware of it. And like I said to him this morning, I'm not even good at giving compliments to you or to your dad, Ole. But maybe that's because we're too close.
Weird, because you're good at giving support.
Yeah.
But compliments? No, I can't remember the last time you gave me a compliment.
I know, but I need to shape up.
But I don't know, I never think about it, because you're so good at just showing support. So it's you always say oh, you're doing good, things like that.
That's kind of a compliment, isn't it? Compliments can come in different forms.
Yeah. I love how we started this saying, let's do the art of listening, and here we are.
But we can
Yeah.
derail back.
Yeah, no, because, like, I mean, to me, support isn't really a compliment. It's more just support, you know? But yeah, that's funny. I've never noticed it. Oh, we have a kitty.
Okay, 5:28. God! Ja, för släpper vi inte in han slutar han inte. Okay, back.
Yeah, that's weird. I've never noticed that about you. Like,
Thank you. Well, that's good. Then you haven't really missed it, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But going back to the topic that you brought up
Yeah.
today, the art of listening. So do you find it to be more like a personality thing, or do you find it that we kind of develop that more with age, or what? How do you see it?
I think it's both. I think that it depends on a lot of childhood, I think, because depending on how you were raised and your surroundings when you were a child depends, like, it depends on how much you felt like you were listened to and how much you felt like you could like listen to others as a child. And like everything, no matter what, if happens when you're a child, it's rooted into you, you know.
Yeah, it colors you, doesn't
yeah
it?
So I think that it also can depend on personality, because, like, for example, narcissists, I don't think have the capability of doing that necessarily, unless they...
Or the interest.
Yeah. I mean, that's just their personality. Like, they can't really...
But I also find that different... I'm not going to name any countries here, but different nationalities have a tendency to talk more than others. And other nationalities are very quiet and a little bit almost reserved, and in that way it feels like anyway that they're listening better, but who knows what's going on in their head.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna name nationalities, and I'm gonna say Spain is not a very good listening country, I'd say, because in Spain what they do is, if someone's talking, then I'm going to talk louder than them, but then they're going to talk louder than me, and it's just going to get louder and louder until one of us gets the point across. It's like, that's Spain in a nutshell.
Yeah, like, it's not a quiet country.
It's a very loud country.
Even when they go out jogging or something, they talk all the time.
Yeah.
Americans as well. I wasn't going to say anything, but Americans, they're good talkers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they just love gossip in Spain, so it's just like, yeah, tell me, you know. But I mean, if you think about it, it does come with a bit of art of listening with that, because, like, a lot of, like, even though they talk over each other, they still seem to know what the other person's saying, even though there's just shouting going on.
Yeah.
And they seem to remember, like... Because they can go to their grandkids and say, like, oh, I heard this about this in your school, like, 15 days ago from your aunt, and, like, things. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they do listen, but,
But it's loud. I remember Joel and Marcus, your brothers, when we moved to Spain the first year, they came to me and they said, Mom, why are they so angry here? And I'm like, no, darling, they're not angry. They're just loud.
They're just colorful.
They're just Latinos.
Yeah.
But they thought they were angry.
Yeah. No, but listening, over the years, I've learned more and more how important it is to really listen, and also to feel listened to or heard, because, like, it's also, because someone can be listening but they can't be hearing you, you know, like you said at the start, where they can, like, look like they're listening, but really they're just thinking about how to reply or how to say
Don't
this.
you feel do you feel the difference?
It depends, because some people are masters at it, so it's like, but I can tell if someone's like uninterested in what I'm saying, or if they're distracted, or if they just want to get the conversation over with. And if I sense that, then I'm like, okay, I'll shut the fuck up, because like, you don't want to hear me, so then I don't want to say anything.
But I find it equally beautiful to be in the space where I feel that I want to unload my heart with something, and I know that the person sitting opposite me is really holding that space and is letting me and is there 100%. That's a beautiful moment, I feel.
Yeah.
And also equally the other way, if I really, I'm there and listen, and I feel this person really needs my space now, and hold that. So it's important, and like you said, the art of listening is an art.
Yeah, I mean,
to
like,
actually be there 100%.
Yeah, I've kind of always been like the mom friend or the therapist friend or whatever you want to call it, but like I'm usually the caretaker of the friend group. So like Are
you comfortable in that?
Yeah. No, I like it's part of me. Like I've tried to not be that, and like, because I remember when I had like my party clubbing phase, I was getting so sick and tired of just taking care of absolutely drunk people every time we went out, and it like prevented me from having fun. And then I tried to like have a night where I just like I don't care how drunk people get, I'm gonna have fun. I couldn't do it. It goes against me. It hurts me not to do it, but with being like the caretaker and the mom friend or whatever, a lot of people usually come to you for support or to listen or advice and things like that. And it's funny because so many people, they just want someone to listen to them. Like they don't need any advice, they don't need any
teenager.
I
would say most teenagers.
No, it's not even, I mean, teenagers, but any ages, No,
but I think teenagers, because they are being told so much what to do from school. They're being told from authority, you need to do this, you need to be like that, you need to be not only for the people around them in their home or school or wherever they are, but they also have the entire media tsunami around them and the social media around them. So I think it was what's that scary singer? He looks like he's Marilyn Manson. No,
Marilyn Manson.
Is that I saw him in an interview, because I thought, God, who is this guy? And they were talking about teenagers, and he was really listening to them. And he said that, that most of them, they just want to be heard, just listen to them. Because the reporter was asking, what do you think teenagers needs the most? He's just listen to them. So I thought, even though he was a pretty scary looking or not my type of music, but he said some really cool stuff.
Because I feel like with teenagers, it's such a complicated age already, like with so many things going on, but I feel like for the adults around teenagers, it's like, at least this is what I think, it's like, because when you're dealing with a teenager, it's like, it's not a kid, but it's not an adult. It's like right in between. So it's like it's constantly like you're on a tightrope on what you want to say or do. And I think it's the same for teenagers, because it's like, what should I say or do? Like, because you're just like, it's such a whirlwind of like everything going on.
Okay, we got two cats. So I got one in my lap at the moment, so if you hear one purring, that's the kitten, and then we have another one coming here now, so I guess they just want to be
crazy
with
for
us
attention
on the pod.
They want to listen.
They want to listen. Yeah, they do want to talk as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's like the more and more I have these like heart-opening conversations with people where people are just like the amount of times I've just met complete strangers and then within an hour they're telling me like something they've never told anyone else. Like just being able to just be there and have them comfortable and like just purely by listening is so fascinating to me, because it's like listening is such a simple thing, but again, because we love overcomplicating everything in life, that's also become an overcomplicated thing where it's just like all you need to do is really just take in Lenny. He's
having a cat purring against the mic. Can we stay here? Yeah, it's an easy thing to do, but it's you still have to be very focused, I feel.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for the mind to just go, I hear you, but I can still think of other things. You know, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel truly when somebody is there holding that space for me, and I know exactly where I'm at when I'm 100% there for somebody else, and not trying to find a solution, because that's always where I go. I'm trying to find the solution, because normally when people need that space, they open up about something, but like you said, they just need to share, or they just want to.
You've gotten a lot better at that though, but like
I'm working on it.
But I remember, because when I was younger I wouldn't want to talk to you guys because exactly that reason. I just like I would know that you guys were listening, but you wouldn't be hearing me. So to me then it was like, okay, what's the point, you know? Because like there's been so many times where I've talked to you and I just see like your eyes are looking at me, but they're not looking at me, you know? They're in your brain, like
trying
the cogs,
to figure out a
cogs are turning, trying to figure out, okay, what do I say, what do I do, how can we fix this, da 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 da. And I'm just like, you just gotta be here with me, in the present, and listen to me, and that's all you gotta do.
Marcus, your brother, has taught me a lot about that. Just be there, Mom. You don't need to fix it or fix whatever. You just listen.
I mean, listening is such a beautiful thing, because like it's also, not only is it good because you make the other person feel heard and like comfortable and open, but you also learn so much just by actually paying attention to what people are saying. And you learn about them as a person. Like you notice small little things. This might just be me because I overanalyze everything. But like you notice all these tiny details about them, and then like also you get so much more involved in the whole social interaction. Obviously this depends on the person. Like you could be talking to such a boring person, but like but even then if you're just listening, you're like, wow, you're really boring. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, listening is fascinating.
I wish I listened a little bit more at school, because I can't remember anything from school. That's many years ago now, but I really, really thought that was so boring that I had to be there. I was forced to go to school, you know. I couldn't understand it. Why do I need to be here? I don't want to be there. And then it's hard to learn, of course. But I left as soon as I was legally allowed to leave school at 15 in Sweden.
But that's also an interesting thing, because when I think back to going to school, I mean, I was homeschooled for like most of my life. But like when I did go back to school in my teen years, the things I remember from school fully depends on the teacher. And I just realized that the reason why the teachers were so good was because I felt heard by them. I felt heard. Like when I said something, they were like, okay, yeah, no matter how stupid it is or how genius it is, they would be like, okay, let's talk about this, you know, instead of just being like, shut up, let me talk kind of teachers. And that's also a thing that it's like, again, the art of listening, like it has so many levels to it, because it truly makes a difference, especially when you're a teacher. Like when I look back at all the, like, I had this one teacher and I had 3 classes with him. I changed all 3 classes because he was so bad.
Yeah,
like
3 different topics.
So boring. Like he was just so like rude to everyone in this class. And then instead I switched over to my science teacher, and she was very light and happy, and like she listened to us no matter how stupid we were, because some of us in the class were extremely stupid, and like I'm not gonna name names, but you know who you are. And even then she would still like pay attention to us and make us feel seen and heard. And like I was thinking about this last night, actually. I was thinking about because I saw this post that was like, what teacher really influenced you in your life, you know? And I thought about my ICT and PE teacher back in Spain, because he was one of those where he truly made me feel seen and heard. And it's like, with that, especially as a teacher, also comes, like, I feel it creates a lot of confidence in the students, because I remember when I first joined that school, I was terrified. I mean, I'd been homeschooled for 7 years, and then I get put in the middle of like the curriculum.
High school,
like, yeah. It was terrifying. But then
you did great.
I think, yeah. But this teacher, like, no matter what I asked, he would take it so seriously, and he would be like, yeah, no, great question. Like, no one ever asked this. Or like, yeah, this is, yeah. Like, it boosts your confidence just to, like, make people, or, like, feel heard, you know?
Absolutely.
And I feel especially for teachers, no matter what you're teaching, it's such an important thing to do, just to, like, really make your students feel seen and heard. Because so many I think everyone can agree on this, that school, you can feel like a robot, or like just a sheep, and it's just so draining. And it's like, and it's so simple just to listen and make people feel seen. So if you're a teacher, keep that in mind.
Yes, sadly I think there's a lot of teachers that shouldn't be there.
Agreed.
And they teach because they got summer break and Christmas break and Easter break, and
or they're married to the principal.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it's a tricky situation. I remember when we asked Joel and Marcus when they were in Spanish school system is so behind.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the private schools are a lot better, but the Spanish governmental schools are they don't impress at all. And I remember I asked Joel and Marcus, they were about 15 or 16, how many of their teachers, because in high school you have about anywhere between 8 to 12 teachers in different topics. And I asked them, how many of the teachers that you have inspires you? Because I feel a teacher should inspire whatever topic you teach in. If it's English or if it's history, you can still inspire your students to learn.
Yeah.
And make it fun. And having so many teachers, both of them said one. And I went to bed crying. You know, I was like, what am I doing? Because we didn't homeschool them. I didn't know better then. But with you being 11 years younger, I thought, no, we're not going to put you through that. So we didn't. And then
But homeschooling was weird. Like, I like when I look back on being homeschooled, like I don't know how to feel about it, because I'm like, yeah, I mean it's better than the shitty school system in Spain, but at the same time it's like you have to sacrifice so much. Like,
who? You or us?
no, I mean, like, sacrifice was a bad word.
Yeah, very bad. I don't know.
But I mean, like, not sacrifice, but you lose a lot. Like,
Yeah,
you
you do.
lose the whole
Social bit.
Yeah, social bit, the whole experience of school.
Yeah.
And like the whole routine of it all. I mean, we still had a routine, but it's
Yeah.
not as
Strict.
routine-y.
It's not as disciplined and strict.
Yeah.
We could have a pajama day and just do it on a Saturday if we felt like it. Yeah,
and I mean, like, even though I think that like 80% of what the school teaches you is absolute garbage and like is very unnecessary, I still, like, I remember thinking when I was homeschooled, I was like, I'm not learning enough. Because I remember we had been homeschooling for like a couple of years, because I was homeschooled for 7 years total. And I remember it was like a few years in, and I remember me and Dad were doing math. And I remember I was struggling so much with division, which I still do.
Who needs division?
I hate maths.
If you're not an engineer. Or...
I hate maths with a passion.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, I remember I was struggling so much with division, and I had friends who went to public school, and I would see what their homework was like, and I was like, man, like, this is so much more advanced than what I'm doing. Like, I'm struggling with division, and these people are like doing algebra and shit. And I was just like, man, like, I'm really falling behind here. And like that kind of like, it made me be like, am I stupid, or like what's going on? Like, so that's why like I agree with the whole like homeschooling thing, because the school system is awful, and like until that fixes itself, it's like, come on. But at the same time, like, there are areas of it where I'm like, wait, actually school is better in this area, and you know.
Well, that was our biggest worry, because we were in Spain. If we would have been located in, let's say, in the UK or in the States, where it's so common to homeschool, and there's big communities, they meet up and everything. I tried my best to organize, but in Spain, it's still a gray zone if it's legal or not. But so it wasn't that many homeschooling kids in your age. There were some expats, and so that part but we just felt it's still better than going through the whole shaboom like we did with your brothers, I felt. And I think also you have a different view, I think.
100%.
Of learning and how to kind of navigate. But I do agree that you missed out on especially the social bit, which could be absolutely amazing, and it can absolutely be hell as well, depending on who you are and what class you're going to and everything like that. So yeah.
You say that.
What do you mean?
But I kept telling you that I didn't want friends, and you kept forcing me to go to these horrible homeschool meetups with like such annoying children.
Listen, without that, you wouldn't have met your best friend, who was your best friend for a few years. She even traveled with us up to Sweden.
Okay, so out of 250.
You only really need one to start. I mean, if you have one good friend, and you did, and that friend also led to you starting high school. So I think...
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Everything happens for a reason, but God, it was awful meetings. Like, because some of these children, I was like, Mom, I'm like 11. I don't want to be hanging out with a 6-year-old, like...
No, that's true. Of course, I didn't, So, but I tried. I did my best to find you homeschooling friends, because Yeah, it wasn't easy in Spain, that's for sure. I think that's changing
Some of
now.
them were characters.
And I was
right?
so jealous when because I hooked up with so many communities online in the States and the UK, because I had tons of questions and worries, and like I was really like intimidated. So how can we do this? I'm not a teacher, but yeah, it would have been so much easier. I was jealous, if we would have been in the UK. Oh, it was camps in the summer. It was meetups once a week. It didn't matter which town or village you were in. They were just a lot of, because they've been homeschooling. I mean, the States, I think, for 40 years or something. The UK for 30 or something. So it's a long time.
Damn.
And big homeschooling communities. So yeah, it wasn't easy. But the bushcraft camps you kind of liked.
That you like bullseyed on that. That was like, because I mean, yeah, a lot of, or some kids that would come to bushcraft camp they were not meant to be there, let's just say. But I mean, it was just nice to just get dirty and like have social life and roll around in mud and
learn
play
how
with
to make
fire.
fires,
yeah,
and use knives, and
I mean, I've always been interested in
sleeping in tents. You're very outdoorsy like that. But can you imagine that now you say some of the kids shouldn't have even been there because they were so, not fun? Or imagine school. Do you know how many you got there? I'm just saying.
What do you mean by that?
No, if you go to camp for a weekend, like you did many times, and we did week ones as well, and you had a few there that was not good or fun, or they were ruining it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you're in class every day with 30 kids and one teacher,
But then I can zone it out. I remember a few kids in my class that were like that would like not be quiet and was just
ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, just like we wouldn't learn anything because this kid would just talk the entire time. That I can zone out because like that is fine, but like because I know that that's just like an hour class and then I'm like done with that. But
camp, you have to,
camp, I have to be with this person for 48 hours or more. It's like, it's just their whole energy is putting everyone off. So it's just go away. But I mean, everything happens for a reason.
How old were you then? You were pretty 12, 13.
I think I went...
9, 10, 11, 12, something like that.
You're asking the person with the worst memory in this family to tell you about age.
You should have the best. Dad and I are getting older.
Well...
you need to
you drink fluids to keep your memory up. I don't. That sounded like you guys were alcoholics.
No, drinking natural nutrition.
Weird oils that I don't get, but it's some hippie thing.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot. This is also like derailing, but like when we have guests over, especially when my cousin was here with her boyfriend, and you were showing her boyfriend so many like weird things, and especially when he was like feeling ill or he needed to do something and you would just like give him weird things. I was just like, what is my family? But like,
it's really good things.
I know it is, but like imagine an outsider. You meet a nice girl and like you have fun, and then you take a trip with her and you meet her aunt and step uncle and cousin, and they're just these weird ass spiritual hippies who are giving you like whole peppercorns because your stomach hurts.
Actually, that is really good if you get the runs, if you're traveling. 5-6 white peppercorns, not black. Very good.
I mean, like I'm not saying that the things aren't true because I know they are, like ayahuasca
It
and
worked.
things like that. But it's just like the whole image of just being an outsider and then coming in, because for me it's so normal. Like I've grown up with all this weird things all the time, like since I was a toddler. We went to satsang with Melanie, and like, so I've always kind of, I'm just used to it, but sometimes I just kind of have an outer body experience and like put
Look in.
myself into other people's shoes, and I'm like, man, we're weird, but I love it. Because at least
I
we're
don't
not
think we're
boring.
weird. We just maybe have done it in a different way.
No, we
You
are
know.
weird, but weird is amazing. I love being weird.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, weird has never been a negative word for me.
No, it depends in what context,
Nah,
I guess.
No matter what context, you can seriously use weird as an insult towards me, and I'll be like, thanks.
Yeah, I actually say that as well. You're weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you.
It's just, thank you. I'm not one of the sheeple. That's so kind to say. Like, I love being weird.
Yeah, but I think all this home remedies and everything, it's in my blood. You know, it's from my great-grandmother, from my grandmother,
Yeah.
from my mother, now to, you know, me, and then to you.
Yeah, but I mean, like, looking at, like, what Auntie Osa does and Grandma does. God, that's so weird to say in English, because I only say them in Swedish. But anyway, what they do compared to what you do, it's like the Antarctic and Australia.
It's just we live a different life.
Yeah, but like Grandma bakes cookies when you feel ill. You give us weird potions and things like that.
To get healthier.
Or poison
I serve
us.
you nice food as well. Don't you remember when Clara, your cousin, was here now from Sweden, and you were a little bit under the weather? You had fever one day, and I went in with soup, and and Clara, who's 26, she was like, "Oh, I remember being sick at home, and Mom came in with food and everything."
Yeah.
It's that doesn't happen as soon as you move out of the home. You know, when
Yeah,
you're sick,
but,
nobody's
like,
taking care of you and give you weird remedies and food.
But the thing
breakfast in
you're,
bed.
I think, purposely leaving out is that you don't just bring soup. You bring soup and then like a whole tray of like potions and pills and like
Yeah, good things.
fluids and other things that like are
Medicine. I bring you
are
medicine.
for sure great for you one at a time. But you just like shove them all into us at once, and we're like, I don't know about this one, man. Like something's brewing. But I mean, like they work. I know they work.
Yeah, they do.
Even-
Not on Dad though. Do you remember when I almost killed him with pollen? Oh dear.
Because okay, let me tell the story real quick. Because Mom, you make smoothies for us sometimes.
Yes.
I mean, I've kind of taken over that, and I make my own now. But because everyone loves smoothies, you know, and they're healthy. And so Mom made this smoothie for me once. This was back in Spain, and no, it wasn't. It was here.
Yeah, it was here.
Oh wow. So she made a smoothie for me, and I tasted it, and I was like, this tastes weird. Like, and I know because Mom, a lot of times, like, she'll just put something, like, you once tried to put something in water and not have me notice. It tasted like battery acid. Anyway, Mom very often sneakily puts something into something
Healthy.
because it's healthy, but she doesn't tell us.
No.
But she just expects us not to notice, even though it tastes
Sometimes you don't. So many times I succeed. I'm so happy when I succeed.
Yeah, but then you put some battery acid in our fucking smoothies. No, and this one time it tasted awful, and like it made me like, it didn't taste bad, but like it just felt so wrong sitting in my stomach, and I was like, this is not good for me. I took 2 sips and I was like, Mom, I seriously cannot drink this. And like you always like eye roll, and you're like, you never like my smoothies and all that. And then you gave it to Dad, and he drank it, and then Dad
Not
isn't
good.
allergic to anything
No, but pollen.
except for bee pollen. And that was the thing that my mom secretly had
I could have
added.
killed him.
You could have. His ear, like, inflated into a little cabbage. And, like...
Oh, it was bad. No, and I was I'm part of a very, very big group here in Bali that is all about medicinal plants, because I have a big interest in all this. And being here in Bali, being tropical climate, there's so many that I've learning about now. And
there's
we
so
actually
many...
planted the entire garden this last week with them. But I forgot. So I'm on this chat writing, I accidentally poisoned my husband with bee pollen, and some of them were saying, oh my god, that could kill him, how much did you give him? And it was about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons, so it was a lot. Anyway, it passed, but I got worried that it was going to go down to his throat and swell up.
Yeah, because we don't have EpiPens here, do we?
No.
Because in Spain we had EpiPens in the freezer.
Yeah, because he's allergic to wasp.
Yeah, me too.
So maybe we should get one, actually. Remind me. It's good to have in the fridge.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not going to do that again.
No.
I'm still going to try to give you good stuff, though, and sometimes it works, sometimes you go,
you try to kill us. It's the
no,
50-50, you know?
No, I mean, I succeed to actually give you something that you think, oh, this tastes good. But, yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you can, like... I remember that one time when you, like, spiked the water with something. Some healthy powder or some shit. And, like... I remember I drank the water and I was like, this is not water. What did you do? And you were like, nothing. What do you mean? It tastes fine. Like, trying to gaslight me into thinking that the seawater was normal water.
It wasn't seawater.
No, but it was not water.
Wow.
It did not. And you're like, what do you mean? It's fine.
I can't remember what I put in it.
Me neither.
Maybe some potassium or something. I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
It sounds familiar. But, like, I was just like, you really
Potassium
expect
salt.
me to not know the taste of water? Yeah.
It's going to be funny because one day when you have moved away, let's say in 5 years, when something happens, you're going to call me and go, Mom, what do I do now?
100%.
Because I know for a fact that you would like to have, I think, certain things in your house.
100%.
If that happens,
100%.
Yeah. So
I think about that all the time. I'm like, for example, when I'm struggling with, like, setting up my website or, like, PayPal or banks or something like this, and I think, man, when I move out, I'm gonna, like, just bombard my parents with phone calls all the time. But, like...
Yeah, but that's normal in the beginning.
Yeah, but when it comes to this, 100% I'm gonna want some of these things.
Yeah.
But when you spike the water with potassium and expect me not to notice, that's just like...
Well, I thought, you might have liked it. Then it would have been really good.
No, it tasted awful.
Might have. Well, I don't know
It
until I
tasted
try
like old
it.
pool water. And you expected me not to notice.
Oh, funny. Oh, dear. Time's up, darling.
Okay.
So, like every time, please comment. We love your comments. I got a little bit of a comment from Emmy Lou that she doesn't like me just saying thank you. So I'm not going to do that.
No, because I feel that's ingenuine. Like, you're just replying to everyone the same.
But I sincerely mean thank you.
Yeah, but it shows that you're not listening. That you're just thinking, you're hearing,
right.
but you're not listening.
Okay. All right.
So listen
Anyway.
to people around you. Listen and don't try to disconnect yourself. Your subconscious mind.
Who are you talking to now?
The viewers.
Yeah, the viewers. The listeners.
Yeah, just try to disconnect your ego when you're listening to someone, because it's important to listen. It's important.
It is, and it's interesting.
And it's important to feel heard. If you don't feel heard, then set boundaries or find someone else.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. Love having you and your comments and any topics that you want us to bring up. feel free.
Yeah.
Lots of love from Bali.
Bye.